Ruben Obed here, transmitting live once again from Dorado, Puerto Rico, and I'm here to teach people what are watts, what are amps, and basically, a simple formula. Now, there's a simple formula, and I'm gonna leave it till the end, but I'm gonna explain something. A lot of people don't understand solar, but you guys do understand water. So I'm gonna make this analogy with water. Okay, so I got disconnected a little, and what amps are. A lot of people find electricity very complicated, but people understand water. So I'm gonna explain this in terms that people can relate to. Okay, now this right here is a cistern. Okay, and that cistern, let's not call it cistern, let's call it battery. Okay, a cistern. Now, what is inside of the cistern, aka battery? Okay, inside of the battery or the cistern, we have water. Okay, now that water, let's change the name, let's call it amps. All right, so a cistern has water in it. A cistern is similar to a battery, and inside of a battery you have the amps, okay, or the current. Now what happens is that those amps and that current, it just stays there because it needs a way to move. And that's where you would need, if you had a cistern like this, you would need a water pump which will build pressure and make that water move. All right, so you need the amps, which is the water. This is a battery. Cistern is a battery. And in order for that water to be propelled through these hoses, it needs me to turn on the switch, and this is a water pump. But in the analogy, this is the voltage. Voltage is electrical pressure. Okay, voltage is electrical pressure. So we have the battery. Inside the water is the amps, and the pressure is the what? The voltage. Okay, that's how it works. Now, so this is volts. The water inside is amps. So what the hell is watts? Well, if you take the number of voltage, let's say here 3 gallons per minute, all right? And if you multiply the 3 times the 200 gallons of water, you would have 600 watts. You see what I'm saying? Because you'd multiply the amps times the voltage, and it gives you the watts. Okay? That's what watts are. Watts is basically the multiplication of volts and amps. It gives you an idea. So when you buy a TV, for example, and the TV says that it runs on 120 volts, that means the water pressure or the electric pressure is 120. And it says that the TV runs on 1.6 amps. Okay, so if you multiply the 120 volts, the water pressure or the electrical pressure, times the 1.6 amps, then you know how many watts that TV is. Okay, so the equation is volts times amps equals watts. Volts times amps equals watts. Now, if you have an appliance that tells you it is 300 watts, all right, and you know that the voltage is the house voltage, which is 120. So what you do, instead of multiply, you divide it, because watts divided by the volts will give you the amps, or the watts divided by the amps will give you the volts. But volts times amps equals the watts. That's the easiest way to explain what volts, amps, and watts are. So just to recap, the cistern is a battery. The water inside are the amps. The water pump is providing the voltage, which would be 3 gallons, or the voltage, the pressure. All right. And if you multiply the pressure times the amps, you will get a general number, which is the volts, which is the watts. The watts basically gives you an idea of the totality of how that's going to function. I hope this analogy clears this up, because this one was actually very confusing to me when I was learning, and so voltage times amps equals watts. Peace.